What up is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. Before you click away, I do have a giveaway. All right, we have a DeAndre Swift signed jersey. Whoop, 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 whoop. All you gotta do is be a subscriber for a chance to win. This channel is booming, as Antonio Brown would say, and business is booming, so we need to continue to keep booming. All right, we're gonna be just doing some Dynasty trades. I got my coffee here. I am ready to go. All right, so this is now that the season is over. Wow, fantasy season is over. It's all about rookies and it's all about trades because we get the offseason projecting some of these players to hit the cliff, and we got some of these breakouts that we're trying to project. So the first one, and this says one QB PPR, which, I mean, the PPR point matters, but it's Elijah Mitchell, Michael Carter for Austin Eckler. And that is straight up, in its sense, a really fair, a fair-ish trade. I think Elijah Mitchell is going to be super hard to gauge just because of the fact that he's going to have Deebo Samuel constantly stealing some of these carries. I mean, you've seen that he's had over 10 carries the last two games in the playoffs. And you've seen that he's been a touchdown stealer as well on the ground. And then you have Michael Carter, who right now is the starting running back as the New York Jets. He's the only one you could kind of say is there. But you could easily see Breece Hall there, Isaiah Spiller there. Like, you could see a running back come in and really take some of that time from Michael Carter. In this case, I'm taking Elijah Mitchell and Michael Carter. I am taking the two players. I understand that Eckler, he could easily have, the Chargers could easily draft somebody. And in this case, I am going to take Elijah Mitchell and Michael Carter. The only reason I wouldn't do this trade is if I already had, let's just say, two really good running backs. Let's say I have Kamara, which means you're having an older team, Kamara, and we'll say Najee or something like that. That would be an amazing running back field. Or we'll just say even like Zeke and you name the other running back. Zeke and Akers. Zeke and Akers and you have Eckler, then I don't need four good running backs. I need only three, really, is like the max cap. Because, yes, they always get hurt, but that's when you start trying to find handcuffs and stuff. And if all 3-4 running backs get hurt, your team's probably going to stink anyways, especially if that is where a lot of your value is. That's just kind of a thought, food for process. All right, Superflex, Dynasty, we have Mac Jones versus a 2023 first. You guys have if you've already seen videos previously, by the way, this is a good point to pause and say, if you have a trade that you are contemplating in Dynasty, please let us know in the comment box because we'll be able to help. I do have some of the other people that are, of course, watching this video that do comment quite often on there as well, so they are very good support. And I feel like, maybe this is just me, I feel like I have a very educated base that watches this. I mean, like, I have really good conversations and really good thought processes with a lot of viewers of this channel. And I've seen other channels, honestly, where they're just like bashing each other and it's just like crazy talk. I feel like our channel doesn't really have that, which is I really appreciate. Thank you, everyone. So Mac Jones, 2023 first. You know from previous last year that I'm not a big Mac Jones fan. The reason for that is his ceiling. He's not going to be a high QB1. Like, you're not going to get Josh Allen out of him. You're not going to get Joe Burrow out of him even. And he doesn't have weapons surrounding him. So those are some big issues that Mac Jones has. And so the 2023 first, you have to really debate on, well, where is that going to be? Let's just say worst case scenario, it is a late 2023 first. I'm just going to take the 2023 first, honestly, in this situation. I understand Mac Jones could be a QB2. He could be the next Derek Carr. He could be the next Kirk Cousins. That is his realm of possibility. I mean, Kirk Cousins was 11. So you got 11 to like 15, 16. That is probably his ceiling-ish. Maybe a slightly higher a year, but then he comes back down. Mac Jones, his mobility is just not there. And so I want the upside of a 2023 first. We already know how great that class is. So if you might not need a quarterback. So you might go try to get one of the big running backs or the wide receiver class is supposed to be still good. It's supposed to be a really good class in 2023. I'll take the 2023 first in this situation. Everyone is... This is a poll. By the way, this is off of Dynasty Trades guy. This is just off of his Twitter. I was like, hey, what are people interested in? And I, of course, don't have Twitter yet, but I mean, I have one, but I don't know the password, and it's been like 5 years, and I'm just too lazy to redo it. All right, who's your number 2 ranked running back in Dynasty? We have CMC, Kamara, and Najee or other. Well, on this situation, it shouldn't be Kamara, and he's the last of the percentages here. But Kamara, Najee, like at this point, I'm gonna say, well, let's go to the Dynasty rankings, and I'll show you. Oh, this webpage was not reloaded correctly. So I have Jonathan Taylor as number 1, and I feel like that's why the question is posed as who is number 2. And so number 2 that I have, because I just want to make sure, I'm pretty sure it's Najee. It's Najee. In fact, my number 3 is actually DeAndre Swift, and then we go all the way down to where the heck is Kamara? Christian McCaffrey 4, but he's 9 overall, and Kamara is out of the top 10 when it comes to overall. So, and Kamara was picked last. Najee was actually CMC over Najee, which I'm going to take Najee. You look at health the last couple of years, and you look at Najee was still a really good running back his rookie year, and I think that maybe I'm overrating him, but you got youth, you got a couple more years, and you have the ability where he's not potentially been banged up as much as CMC. Who would you rather have in a 14-team PPR Superflex League? Cam Akers plus 101, I'm assuming that's 101 this year, and 323 firsts, mid to late, and a 23 second. So first of all, when you're trying to project a year and a half out, lots of things can happen. We had a team that had, in Dynasty, it was a 16 team, which is going to tell you how great this team is. It had Cook. It had Cook, Hill, Evans, Burrow. I'm trying to think of the other running back. Fournette. And I think they had somebody else. Oh, they had Saquon Barkley. So look at that. Fournette, Cook, Barkley, Burrow, Evans, what else to say? Hill, Tyreek Hill. Like, you're thinking, man, that team is going to easily be a top team. They were the third to worst team. It just, sometimes you play the wrong teams. I think you lost 4 straight games by less than 4 points. And on top of that, a bunch of injuries. Team started underperforming in the second half of the year and and then started selling off assets. It was like, hey, I'm not going to compete this year. My team's already getting older. This is kind of an all-in year. I need to start selling to some of these contending teams. So you can never know. So I'm just going to say 323 first. We assume potentially, I'm just going to say mids because you said mid to late, but you never know. And a 23 second for Cam Akers, 101. So you're thinking Cam Akers and Treylon Burks. Cam Akers, Breece Hall. Well, I think this is going to be one of those classics. Where are you at? Are you a couple years away? If you're a couple years away, this is really good value to get out of. If you have Cam Akers and 101, it's really good to trade those two together to just get 3 firsts and a 23 second. Because right now, this super flex league, it's not like last year where there's no Trevor Lawrence, there's not even a Zach Wilson, there's not even a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. There's no quarterback that I'm like, oh, I need it. So in this case, I'm going to take more times than not, especially if I don't need. Yeah, if I don't need players now, unless I'm missing. Let's say I have Najee and I'm missing 2 running backs, and that's going to complete my team. Then I'll take Cam Akers and Breece Hall, or if I'm Cam Akers and Treylon Burks, or whatever it is. But more times than not, I'm actually going to, in this poll, it was done where most people picked Cam Akers in 101, but I'm actually going to take the 323 first, mid to late, and the 23 second, which should be a deep class. We don't know where that one's going to be, but a lot of things can happen. All of a sudden, one of those first, all of a sudden turns early, and now you have maybe 4, 7, and 10. You have 4, 7, 10 in a second, and it's like, whoa, you can get a good quarterback, a top running back, and a wide receiver, plus you have a second. I'll take that. Where? Nope. No. Just trying to find some more trades. I want more trades. Oh, 23 first, middle, late. 24 first. Man, we're getting late. It just doesn't even seem like 2024 is a year coming up, or a couple of years coming up, but it is. We're going to be talking about the 2024 class here in probably 6 months. Because after the draft, we're going to be like, 2024, what's going on? And Alvin Kamara. This is Dynasty, 1 QB, 12 team standard. This is a tough one. If you're a team that is competing, I'm taking Kamara. If you're a team rebuilding, I'll take the trade. it's sad that's how far it's gone. But I mean, Alvin Kamara, he's getting closer to that point. He's probably that 2-year point where you're gonna have a year or two left, and a 2023 first, yes, even in one QB, should be a really good player, and in 2024 first, we have no idea what it will be, but still, I think that's a. Yeah, and most people picked Alvin Kamara, which it just depends on what side you're on. Again, if you are a team that is competing, and you need to win now, Alvin Kamara is a great value for those 2 picks because you can try to accumulate those picks eventually down in the next 6, 12 months, or if you feel like, hey, I can't win, then boom, I'm going to start trying to sell back to Kamara. And I think even if you sell Kamara 6 months or a couple months into the season to a running back needy team, I definitely think you'll be able to get at least like a late first. And so let's just say maybe you lose that 2024 first. That's so long, it's basically 3 years till that player actually plays. That's just so long in Dynasty. Yes, it can be short, but I hate doing those trades where it's just like I have to wait. And let's just say that player takes slow development. You're half a decade for that player to actually do something, and you're making a trade now. That's hard always for me to swallow. And maybe that's one of my weaknesses, you could say, but all right, coffee time. All right, Brandon Ayuk and Dalton Schultz, and this is tight end premium for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Most people say Clyde Edwards-Helaire is probably my worst pick in the last 5 years when it comes to Dynasty, and I think it was a big weakness for a lot of people. He was one of the guys I was rising on in the 2020 draft. I was rising on him, and then he, of course, got the perfect situation. And there's plenty of other podcasts and analysts that did the same thing. I think in Dynasty Nerds was the same thing. I want to say that there's some other channels that were probably the same way, where Clyde Edwards-Helaire went from RB5 to RB1 too. It clearly was a mistake. We can see that now. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is nowhere near, I believe, the ability of Jonathan Taylor. And you could argue that if J.K. Dobbins is healthy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire might be the 4th or 5th best with Cam Akers. He might be the 4th or 5th best. He might have been, talent-wise, 4th or 5th best. Situation, 1st best or 2nd best. You can argue with JT on that one. And we way overvalued the situation, but rightfully so, because Damian Williams was doing so well. But it was an error. So Brandon Ayuk, Dalton Schultz. I'll take Brandon Ayuk and Dalton Schultz. It's ugly because Clyde Edwards-Helaire has the potential, but we've been saying that for so long. Brandon, I honestly would rather have somebody else besides. I think Brandon Ayuk I'm lower on just because that whole situation could be different with Trey Lance. And Debo and Elijah Mitchell, Kittle, there's just too many mouths to feed for me to be super confident about Brandon Ayuk. And he can always go right back into Shanahan's doghouse. Dalton Schultz, I do like Dalton Schultz. So it depends on what your other tight end is on your roster. But if you desperately need a tight end, I'm okay with that. Javonte Williams, 2022 101 rookie pick. And it doesn't matter. What does this one say? 1 QB? It doesn't say. Javonte Williams is easily the best running back. In fact, if you told me it would have to be 101 plus a lot to get Javonte, because him versus Breece Hall, sorry, I think I'm spitting on the screen. I got so excited there. Javonte is and I told you, he's number 10 in my Dynasty overall rankings, which might cause me to go a little crazy. But Javonte Williams is a lot better than any of the other running backs in this class. You got, in my opinion, Najee, Javonte, and then you got Travis Etienne, which was a little bit of a dip into this kind of sphere with Isaiah Spiller, Breece Hall, and Kenneth Walker. And so with that being said, I am taking Javonte Williams 100% out of, 99% of the time. You saw what Javonte did, and if he just gets more touches, which is still questionable with Melvin Gordon potentially coming back, well, maybe not. We saw what he did. He had stats that were the best, basically broken tackle rate. He had one of the most. It was him versus him versus JT for a while for broken tackles, and it was Javonte's getting 60% of the touches. So I am taking Javonte Williams, easy one for me. CMC, Debo, and 2022 mid first. Now we can actually put names to those 2022 first, probably. There's a tier. So this is a super flex tight end. Helps a little bit. Maybe he gets a quarterback or two to get risen above the board. Maybe a Matt Corral that I think that could get taken in the mid there. That might push you back a little bit. I'm going to take Debo in the 2022 first because you could get Debo if you say mid-first. Are you saying 6, 5, 7? Maybe one of the 3 running backs falls down. So let's say you're saying Debo, and let's just say the worst of the running backs, which could be Isaiah. I'll just say Isaiah Spiller. He's probably the lowest ADP at this point. I believe so. Let's say Breece Hall's number 1 ADP of the running backs, so it's either him or Kenneth Walker, and they flip-flop. So Isaiah Spiller, Debo, and let's say Garrett Wilson might be there, maybe not. Maybe you get Drake London. It's just making it, now that you put names to it, and it makes me want that trade so much more. So, like, at first I was kind of like, I like CMC, but then I was like, no, you start adding the names to it, you got to do it. Let's find another tough one. Ooh, Terry McLaurin or Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs has been really interesting. Like, he just did nothing on that last playoff game. But, of course, one game doesn't create your whole career. And I think Stephon Diggs he's with Allen for the next couple of years. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs, I said it weird, barely, over Terry McLaurin. It's close, but I'm going to take it. And it's pretty close in the poll as well. Let's see. Trying to see what else do we have. Oh, here we go. Off season, just got offered a middle 2022 second for Cordarrelle Patterson. I'm going to take the mid. This is, again, one of those, what do you need? Cordarrelle Patterson is, you probably would guess he's like 28, but he's on the other side of 30. I'm going to take the mid 2022 second. I really am. And I'm just going to try to find that, not diamond in the rough, but I'm going to try to find... Cordarrelle Patterson is a depreciating asset. There is a chance that he repeats as of last year. But I'm going to take... This is after the season is over. If this is mid-season, I would have easily given up the second for Cordarrelle Patterson. This is why trading your players, if you're a tanking team, is so important. We talked about this. If you have a player, you need to just start basically saying, hey, highest bidder, grab them. Like, if you're a team that is trying to lose, but the correct way, like a 2022 second would have been a steal. You probably could have got a 2022 late first for him. And you go, maybe not. Well, he was a 2022 late first in a couple different leagues that I was a part of. Cordarrelle Patterson now, I'm questioning if I would rather have Cordarrelle Patterson than a mid-2022 second, and I'm leaning towards that mid-2022 second, which means it's maybe worth a late 2022 second. So you lost a whole round because you waited a couple months. And if there's that situation changes, Atlanta drafts Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker, then you're screwed. Then he's a 3rd or 4th round pick, and you're just washing away. All right. This is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. Comment hashtag Dynasty Football and what minute you made it to, which is 18. So Dynasty Dads. Put Dynasty Dads 2022. Whatever. I want to see how many of you actually made it to minute 18. It'd be interesting. Maybe there's only a couple of you. Maybe a couple of you only made it to minute like 9. But this is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. Peace out. Take care. Now turn up.